Our next speaker is someone who has literally been feeding me at least once a week since he's been open. And how many people here have been to MIDA restaurant? Woo! And if you haven't, you should. I first got to, come on up, Douglas. I first got to meet Douglas. Douglas is the first chef operator-owned, black chef operator-owned gentleman in the city of Boston since Daryl settled. And he's not even going to talk to you about cooking. He's going to talk to you about something else. Douglas Williams.
So, can you hear me all right? Yeah. Great. So, I cook. I cook very, very, very well. I travel around the world involving myself in different cultures, primarily through cuisine. The most important thing to a chef is setting up your mise en place. The mantra being everything you need and everything in its place. Mise en place. And mastering these things has served me well, not only in the kitchen, but in life too. This speech is simple. Reaching a level of success, holding on to it, and taking it to new heights has only and could only be due to the women in my life. My mise en place, if you will. If I were to recall the reasons for so many great occurrences in my life, I would immediately attribute it to my mother. She was my main ingredient. Her will to give me a better life than she had makes me who I am today, even right at this very moment. Let me tell you a little bit about my mom and how my journey began. I was born in Atlantic City, New Jersey in 1984 to my mother, Rosalie, a Syrian Lebanese cocktail waitress, and my dad, a black gentleman who also happens to be a chef. Hearing that, you might think I was destined to have a career in hospitality, to be a food service professional, but the truth is, my black male role model was living the fast life and addicted to drugs, and my mom was struggling with her own baggage from a very troubled childhood. There were really no guarantees that I would become a chef or really anything in life. When my dad left at age 6, it was just my mom and I. I always had great birthday parties and snazzy Salvation Army clothes and all the Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks that I could ever want. But I figured out soon enough that my mom was doing her damnedest every day so that I saw no poverty, heartache, or struggle that was within her control. But she also had no real outlet to put her own mind or help her selfless heart at ease. Ever. Not even for a moment for her entire life. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in '95 when I was 10. And she struggled on her own for many, many years after surgeries and decades-long treatments of chemo. She eventually passed in 2013. And despite all of her mishaps, she still worked tirelessly, only forgoing work just a year before her passing so that I could have the opportunity to see my own life expand. My mother embodied generosity, and that was her legacy and the all-important ingredient that would carry me through my life. There were other women early in my life who had also added to my recipe. In 5th grade, Miss Mattia Lakins taught me what I believe to be one of the most important life skills known to man, the handshake. Still never got that. Let me walk you through. I always remember the time and place. She put 2 desks together, split the class evenly on either side, and she said, look them in the eye, extend your hand, and give a firm, confident handshake. I took that way serious. I don't give a weird handshake, it's perfect, but it's because of that. I remember saying to myself, I'm pretty sure this is important. Why would she go so out of her way and waste her time if it wasn't important? Miss Lakins does not play that at all. And I knew that handshake could take me places. I knew that handshake could take me out of Atlantic City and help me see the world and mold it through the lens of sensibility and compassion as I was shown by my mother. And then there was Miss Ravelli, my home ec teacher, Grandma Shirley, and the obvious characters, and the list goes on. But I really want to share another critically important part of my life recipe with you. I met my wife, Debra, in Cambridge 10 years ago. We actually bumped into each other on the dance floor. I saw her big curly hair, and you can see it right over there too. You just want to dance with her, I know. It's just, I know I can go to it. And I knew in order to get her attention, I would have to share my generosity with her. And for me, that was about feeding her. I invited her into the restaurant I was training at the time, and experience blew her socks off, as was intended. For me, food is love, and I get so much joy sharing that. 10 years later, I recognize the importance of finding a partner that complements and balances you. And it helps that we both share the love of food. Debra is my rock, my lighthouse, my partner in crime, and today the most critical ingredient in my life recipe. This past year, I became a father. We have two 8-month-old fraternal twin boys. Holy shit. Raffa and Lev, okay? They bring such joy to our lives. Being by my wife's side and supporting her through a twin pregnancy allowed me to see her in a new light. A very new light. But as I look closer, I recognize those ingredients that started to shine through. The ingredients of a strong, steadfast, future-focused woman that were the same qualities my mom had. I was now seeing how it comes full circle. I also opened my first restaurant, MIDA, almost 2 years ago on the edge of Roxbury in South End. MIDA means he gives me in Italian, and was literally built around the concept of generosity. Another nod to my mother's legacy. MIDA wouldn't be here today without all the support of so many in the community. I mean in this very community that you are sitting in right now. Lots are in this room tonight. These moments have been life-changing for me. They have caused me to do a lot of self-reflecting, and as I think about the source of my happiness today, I can see that is because of all the women in my life. Some of the ingredients in my life were given to me, and some I manifested and found along the way. But I know that if a recipe is missing an ingredient, it could change the whole vision of my dish. For me, the will of all the women in my life have shaped the recipe that has helped propel me to where I am right now. We need to tattoo in our consciousness how powerful women are and realize they are and always will be the most important piece to human culture. Okay? I'm going to say it one more time. We need to tattoo in our consciousness how powerful women are and realize they are and always will be the most important piece to human culture. Right? The reason why the will of the woman is so critical is because mothers, aunts, grandmothers, and sisters think about the future differently. They hold the responsibility of laying the groundwork and setting the path that we are on. And that deserves the ultimate apex of respect and recognition. Yes. In closing, I hope that by sharing my story tonight, it might inspire you to reach out to any of the women in your life who have had a fundamental impact on your own success. Thank you very much.